but like the progress checks, like the multiple choice.
Are they not open?
Yeah, they're not open.
Okay, I can do that. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
All right, let me get this going. All right. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I have this here. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, so I have this here. All right, so I have a superclass, okay, called review. All right, now what I want to do really quickly is I'm going to make the constructor for review. Okay, so I'm going to say public. Now, what does a constructor not have?
Return type.
A return type. Okay, so I'm going to say public review. I'm going to say int grade string x. Okay, now this dot grade equals grade, and name equals x. Is this legal? Is this legal? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this legal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this legal?
No.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely legal. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. But what by default, what happens to the variable?
It won't
Zero.
initialize. It'll stick with its original. Won't it stay with like 0?
It'll stay at 0. Okay. It won't fully initialize. It'll stay at 0. Grade equals grade. Okay. It will stay at 0. Okay. What if it was a object or a string?
No.
No. What if it's a double or a float?
0.0.
0.0. Very good. Okay. Now, is it okay to just always use this dot name equals x?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to switch this back to this dot grade equals grade. Okay. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to say drive equals false. Is this legal?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Perfect. So now completely legal. Now, if I come here, I'm going to save this. I'm coming over here and I'm going to make a review object. Okay. Review A equals new review. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to say 10 and John. Okay, so I have my review object. All right. Now, if I were to print out A, what is going to print out?
Memory location.
Memory location. Very good. Okay. So I have review at 2F0, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So in order to rectify this, what should I need to do?
Make it two string.
Make it.
String.
I'm gonna make a 2-string. Okay. So who can tell me, Ali, what's the signature for the 2-string?
A public string to string.
Do I need parameters? Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
No. Okay.
And why? Why don't I need parameters? Tokes.
You're not plugging in anything.
I'm not asking for any value. This is literally just spitting data back, Ali. It's kind of, look at it kind of like a getter, except with this one, you're getting everything. Okay. And not necessarily everything, but the pertinent data. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to return name plus name, or I can say this dot name. I would even just say this dot name. Okay. Plus grade plus grade. Okay. So now if I run this, I save this here, run it here. Name John grade 10. Okay. Let's say like I add a little divider there. Okay. Name John grade 10. Okay. The 2-string method goes into play here. All right. So now, okay. So the next thing I want to do is, again, let's say I wanted to do a getter. Okay. So if I said public string or public, let's say public, where is it?
Int.
Public int get grade return grade. Okay, now, so Kennedy, Ben, Benny, I think you guys did this before, okay? You guys replaced it with this, okay? At this point with inheritance, this would actually be the smart thing to do now. So I didn't want to rush ahead last time we were there, but with inheritance, this kind of saves you a little bit from any possibility of screwing up, okay? The other thing I want to do right here is I want to say object completed. Okay, I say object completed. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so now when I run this, okay, what is going to print out? What's going to print out, guys?
Great.
So basically what's going to happen is I run this. It says object completed, name John, grade 10. Okay. Sorry about, I don't know why it's so small. I got the new MacBook, and ever since I installed Eclipse on it, everything's a little small. I don't know why. I'll see if I can fix it later. Okay. At least in the console. The other stuff I'm not having issues with. All right. So objects completed, name John 10. The reason why is because when you were running this right here, when you were finishing up the constructor, you're basically saying, okay, run this method. This method means initialize this, manually initialize this, and print out the statement object completed. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say public void can drive. Okay. Public void can drive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if not drive. And the reason I chose not drive is because drive is already false. So if not drive, basically I want to say sys out. I can't drive. Okay. Else I can drive. Okay, so now if I were to run this, now I want to use the can drive method. ISIS in the tester class. How would I use this? What's the name of my object in my tester class?
Would it be like a dot can drive?
Perfect. Now, do I need to put that in a print statement or a variable? Or neither?
Neither.
Neither. Very good. The reason why is I'm not returning any data. Okay. I'm not returning anything. So rule of thumb, usually if you're using a void, you can just say a dot can drive. Okay. Now you guys have already seen it numerous times. If a method returns something, even on the AP, have they used the word return? If it didn't return anything, just like the last time, does it say doesn't return anything or nothing is returned?
Yeah.
Keyword that it's going to be void. Okay. So now if I say a dot can drive, it says I can't drive. So that being said, let's work on inheritance now. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to say class older equals new, or class older extends. And what am I extending?
Review.
Very good. I'm extending review. Okay. So first thing I need to do now, again, let me give you guys a heads up. I'm not really going to use default constructors. Your test is going to be 10 multiple choice, 5 short answer. I'm going to go back to the short answer for this one. Okay. Because I want to make sure you guys know it. Now remember that the short answers are always worth 2. Okay. Can you get partial credit on them? Yes. As long as you don't make major mistakes. Okay. So class older extends review. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say public older and oops, sorry, public older. Oh, okay, public older string, or where is it? Int
Int grade.
string x. Okay. So first thing I need to do is what?
Super.
Super. Okay. And what am I going to do?
Put parameters and then put grade and x.
Bingo. Okay. Now, if I do this, okay. If I do this, what is my console going to look like right now?
Memory.
Huh?
Memory. It's not going to print anything because it's not taking the toString.
That's wrong.
It'll print everything in the superclass, and then it'll just do the constructor. So it'll print
What lines? Okay.
object completed.
Guys, see the lines. Okay. I just added this here. Okay. I haven't changed anything else. What lines, what do you think is going to be printed?
The same thing.
The same thing with object completed also added.
Correct. Okay. So what's going to happen is object completed, name John, grade 10, I can't drive. And if I hit play, same thing, but with object completed. So for those of you who thought I was doing a memory reference, where did I print out B? I didn't print out B. And even if I were to print out B, even if I were to print out B, a memory address still wouldn't print out. Why? Because I
Is it
inherited
the toString?
string. So if I have a toString in my superclass up here, absolutely I'm going to have one down here.
Mr. Marty,
Yes.
for your toString, would it not do the this dot name? How
It's-
would that work?
So it's technically would still work because you've inherited the access up here that's been granted up here.
Okay.
That's why, for example, when you notice how I can return this dot grade, if I do dot get grade, you see how I did that? This dot get grade, return this dot grade.
Yeah.
You're inheriting everything that was in here. So this had access. You're only inheriting access through this method. That's it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So I have these. Okay. Now I want you to take a look at this. Okay. Now, in particular, okay, what I want you guys to take a look at is drive. With older, in particular to older, okay, older should be allowed. Okay, older should be allowed to drive. Older should be allowed to drive. Okay, so how would I do that?
An overwritten method.
I'll tell you this. Okay, it involves overriding, but it also involves something in the superclass. You're gonna have to do something in the superclass. Okay, I'll leave you guys for a second to think about that. Take a look at the screen. You guys can talk amongst yourselves if you want to. I'm just gonna give you a glass of water. I'm back. All right. Okay. Did you guys miss me? Nope. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Ashton. All right. Okay. So who can tell me what we need to do? Anyone, please, not all at once. Okay, all right, that being said, here's what we need to do. You guys are killing me, okay? So what I do need to do is I need to make a getter. Public void, or I'm sorry, not a getter, a setter. Set drive, okay? And I'm going to take in a Boolean value, okay? Boolean X. And I'm going to say drive is equal to X. Okay? There we go. All right, so now that being said, okay, what I'm going to do now is this, okay? I'm going to say public void can drive. Now, the minute that I do this, okay, everything is gone. Okay, so for example, I have a.can drive. If I say b.can drive, okay, and I call on this, okay, notice that I can't drive is here under John. Nothing is printed here. This is method overriding. Everything is gone, okay? But I want older to be able to drive. Now that I have set drive, what I can do is this. I can either do it in the constructor, I can do it here, but more than likely, if I'm only referencing it once, it would make sense to do it here. I'm going to say set drive equal to true. Then super dot can drive. So now what happens is this. So if I run this, I can drive. This is an example. What's happening is this, is I'm calling on my set drive method, which I inherit. This is changing the global variable just within older to true, okay? Then what it's doing is it's calling upon this up here. Super.canDrive is basically the same thing as saying, do everything that was in the canDrive method before you deleted me. Okay, it's basically a big way of saying copy and paste. Now, this if statement relied on the drive variable. So what I did is I changed that value before I ran the if statement. This is a good example of how super is used. Okay, it's also a good example of how using these methods that you inherit, okay, how they're utilized, okay, and especially because they're public. We're not gonna deal with private methods, so don't worry about that, okay. But this is a great way of how to use super. Now notice super is which line in the method?
The first one.
It's the second, right? Exactly. So it's the second method. So that's different than a constructor. Whereas in a constructor, it needs to be the
First line.
first line. Bingo. Okay. So this is a good review of all of this. All right. Now, okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. So
There's more to this. We have a little bit more that we're going to review tomorrow as well. And by the way, tomorrow I am going back to my evening session. I will hold an evening session for any last minute questions that you guys want. Okay, so international students, please feel free to show up. Nick, go ahead.
So why does object completed get printed whenever you call on your object B?
Because what happened is you got to remember that when you're using super, you're not just like inheriting the initialization processes. You're inheriting everything.
Okay.
You're basically inheriting everything in the method. you only see the parameters under super because it needs something to initialize with. You're still inheriting drive being initialized to false, and you're inheriting this print statement. Okay, that's why, for example, if I also say this out, older completed. So not only will this print out objects completed, but it prints out older completed as well now too. So you're inheriting everything in the constructor. Okay. Mainly what we know of is, the initialization process. But if there was an if statement, if there was other things based on it, we would also inherit that.
Okay.
Any questions? Keep going.
You said there's going to be 10 multiple choice and 5 free response or short answers. Is there actually going to be a big code also?
Yeah, always. I'm just saying that it's not going to be just multiple.
Okay.
All right. So now let's go to arrays. Okay. Vasily, I want to make 10 older objects. How would I do that in an array? I want to make an array of 10 older objects.
Older, and then you do the brackets and X or whatever your variable is equals new older, and then you'd put 10 inside the parameters.
Okay. Everybody agree with this? Okay. Now, by default, okay, take a look. X index 4, what's going to print?
Null.
No. Okay. But take a look. What if I did this? Now what's going to print? Null pointer exception. Know the difference. Okay. What I did by doing this, I basically erased this. Okay. But by default, objects initialized to null. Okay. If they were integers or doubles, what would they resort to or revert to? Their numericals would be zeros. Exactly then. Okay. Now, let's say I wanted to initialize these. Okay. I want us to take a look. I covered this in the last class, and I wanted you guys to see this. Okay, in particular. Okay. P equals new older. All right. So, okay. Is this legal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make all of this for, hold on one second. Okay. All right. Sorry, here we go. What prints out? The last line, line 18. What is going to print out?
Object completed, older completed, name John, and then grade 0.
Okay. What's going to print out is null. Okay. Null. Here's why. Okay. This is legal. Okay. For an instance, you can go through and you can initialize the array. Okay. However, you cannot use a for each loop to initialize an array and have the values stick. You can do it temporarily. And then if you needed to put some if statements in here or something like that, you could do that. but this will not stick. That is why the minute that it was done, everything was null. You cannot use a for each loop and have the values stick. It doesn't work that way. Okay. This is, if you wanted to cycle through 10 arrays and have it equal something, and then maybe right afterwards do an if statement that's using these values or something like that, you could do that. Okay. But at the end of this, all the information that you went through does not stick. Everything gets erased. Okay. The proper way equals 0. J is less than J plus plus. Okay. And then X index J equals new, older. We'll say J plus 1 and John. Okay, bingo. So now, okay, name John grade 5. Now it works. You cannot use a for each loop to initialize. Some of you will do it on Eclipse, and this is why I want you guys this is why I brought it up. Some of you will do it on Eclipse. You'll be like, oh, I didn't get an error though. It all looks good to me. I didn't get an error at all. Yeah, for that one instance, it works. But again, it's a read only, okay? It will not stick, all right? So this is just kind of like almost like a error or like debunking in a way, okay? Because I've had that happen. Usually I forgot to bring it up last class, but most of the time I'll have students be like, oh, but it worked in mine. It doesn't always, okay?
Mr. Marty?
Yeah.
Why are you getting a bunch of object completed, older completed?
Because here's what's happening. I'm creating older objects. So what's going to happen with an older object? It's going to do the object completed, older completed. Even the minute that I run my constructor,
Okay.
So I'm doing it. How many objects did I make? 10. So that's why. Let me, whoopsie, let me bring that back. Bollocks. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Now we're going to go over some more array stuff, but again, I felt like this is actually a good review to get us caught up with. Oops, sorry about that. Oh, wow, I didn't realize that my microphone was so far away. Okay. Can you guys hear me a little better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I felt like this was a very good review in order for you guys to get caught up, okay? At least just on the ground running. Now, tomorrow we're going to finish up with the arrays and everything like that. And I will more than likely have a study guide for you guys, okay? I'm going to try to actually spend some time and put it together. Like with, yeah, I know. Don't get used to it, okay? You guys are literally going to be my guinea pig class. I'm literally building I've never given study guides before, okay? Every now and then I'll just give examples, but I've never actually done a study guide. But we're talking like this study guide will have every single method we've gone over, like from compare to and just showing what would work, down to inheritance, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very thorough, and it's an HD. So it'll be, it'll be really nice and neat on the screen. I know you guys make fun of that. Oh, HD, whatever. But I actually think it means something because a lot of times I just copy. I'm like doing screenshots, and with old school computers, it looks all granulated, but with HD, it looks a lot clearer. Okay. So that is class for today. I felt it was a good class. Good, getting us back into things. I can't believe I haven't seen you guys for over a week. So is anybody, guys, we have about 5 minutes left, I think, right? We have 5 minutes left in class, or are we over?
We have 5 minutes left.
Okay. Anybody have any other question? Right now is the best time, guys. And again, tomorrow, probably 7 o'clock is when I'm going to do the review.
Do we need to know all the things on the PowerPoint for the test?
For example, yes. Like I may tell you, I may ask, what's the quickest way to fill an array? I need to copy these elements from this array to this array, starting at this one, like 5 elements. Okay. I'm gonna have questions on compare to. Okay. I'm going to go probably a little bit more in depth. Okay. Yeah. And again, guys, so just so you know, if the question looks like my clips, guess what? I wrote it. Okay. So just understand, like, guys, like literally when I left Milken, I lost access to all my tests on ProProfs that I had. And they are they're a little mean that I left. So they're not giving me my access. So I'm literally rewriting, but with much clearer detail, all your exams. Each one of these exams, I can solve most of the equations in probably a couple minutes, if that. It takes me hours to write the exam. So just know I'm putting in the work for you guys, okay? So anybody have any questions? And again, Kennedy, as soon as I get a response, I'm not just gonna respond to you, I'm gonna respond to everyone because that's a valuable resource that everyone can use, okay? All right, anybody? Okay, I'm gonna go big on inheritance. Don't worry about polymorphism, anything like that. And so just giving you guys a heads up, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be ending the year with abstract and interfaces, okay? Abstract classes and interfaces. Believe it or not, guys, we're about 90% done with the material that we need. We're gonna go above and beyond. We'll probably spend a couple weeks on graphics, okay? So you guys will actually learn how to make some graphics in Java. You'll probably learn how to make a calculator, okay? And stuff like that. So that's probably going to be our little side experiment or our side little project is you're going to make a graphing calculator out of Java, but you're going to learn about inheritances. Everything that we have is just going to be so much easier for you guys to understand all of this. Okay. All right. So that being said, any questions?
This doesn't have to do with the test, but what happened to the last test?
Oh, so I had the worst Thanksgiving ever. Okay. I will have them probably at the latest tomorrow, Kennedy. And based on the grades, do not be surprised if I just throw it out. Okay. Yeah. So I pulled my back extremely, extremely bad. So I don't know how, but I was literally in the worst pain. I drove all the way to Tahoe. And then on Thanksgiving, every time I took a step, it shot pins and needles up my spine. So I don't know what happened. So I didn't do anything but lounge in bed. I literally started feeling better yesterday. As soon as we're done with class, Kennedy, like I gotta finish grading them. I know I'm behind. This is probably the most I feel like an English teacher. Okay. This is the most I've ever been behind. So I'm gonna get on those. That's on me. Okay. But I'm gonna try to get all of those done today, coupled with finishing your exam. Okay.
So
don't like the scores I'm seeing. So if I continue to see that trend, I'm just going to throw it out. Not because I care about my scores. I just feel maybe you didn't have enough time to get full understanding of it. But for the most part, some of the tests in this class are actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm more worried about the last class. So, okay. So keep that in mind, Kennedy. All right. And for those of you that didn't do well on this test, I don't offer, you guys know I don't offer extra credit, but if you did go low, I may offer a supplemental exercise to gain you back some points, but don't start relying on that I'm going to do that. Nick, what's up?
Never mind. Never mind.
And also just giving you guys a heads up, just so you know, I don't offer extra credit. Okay. Just so we can get that clear. I don't offer extra credit. All right. Oh, that's why. Hold on one second. Do I sound a little bit better now? Okay, yeah. Oh, shoot, I forgot to change my microphone. Okay, that's on me. All right, I will have this up, guys. I honestly felt like this was a good review. Specifically, it was a good review of Super. Okay. Again, tomorrow night, so tomorrow's review. Tomorrow night will be review as well, and then we'll kick off your exam. Okay. Any last questions, guys? All right, also one last question. When all of this is said and done, I would like, because you are going to have one last exam, which will be treated almost like a final exam. Would you guys when all of this dies down, would you guys all be willing to maybe meet somewhere in the valley or something like that for a little session, like, just all in one session, or do you guys think it's still unsafe? Still unsafe, still a little sketchy.
Kind of too hard to know.
By the way, I will let you guys know how the vaccine is. It looks like I'm going to be one of the first people to get it because from Cedars due to my involvement at Cedars. So I will let you know how that goes. Okay.
Are you sure it's safe enough for you to take?
You guys know me. I'm crazy. I'll do anything. But at the same time, you got to remember that I've already had it. And so when I took my test last week, I'm still showing up for the antibodies. So, yeah. So I think it's safe. If I grow a third, third thumb or something like that, that's going to be kind of awkward. But hey, extra grip. So got to look at the positives. Okay. So, all right. Now, anybody? All right, guys. I will have this up and loaded. Again, welcome back. I hope you guys have a great day. And again, tomorrow, probably 7 to 7:30 evening review. I will go as long as you need me to. Sound fair? Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.